Welcome to the Iowa 141 Corridor Study. We have staff from the Iowa DOT and Polk County present this evening to discuss the status of the study and to answer any questions you may have. The purpose of this meeting is to update citizens and stakeholders on study, background data, environmental constraints, and obtain public feedback regarding corridor safety and operations. Feedback received at this meeting will be used to develop intersection and roadway alternatives and eventually develop recommendations for improvements to the area. This meeting is open house format, and while there is no formal presentation, we have prepared this video as a brief overview of the project scope, its purpose and need, and some of the alternatives being considered. This is the first step in this process. Additional meetings will be held in the future. The scope of study is to develop a preferred alternative that improves safety for the traveling public on the Iowa 141 corridor from Northwest Towner Drive to the Iowa 17 interchange. This includes the Iowa 141 and Iowa 415 interchange. Separately, the intersection of Iowa 415 and Northwest Beaver Drive is also being studied because of peak hour delays. Impacts to environmental resources such as streams, wetlands, floodplains, public lands, and cultural resources are considered as a part of the study process. The primary purpose of this project is to address safety concerns related to the elevated crash severity at the Iowa 141 and Northwest 121st Street intersection. This intersection is ranked number 23 statewide on the Iowa DOT Safety Improvement Candidate Location List. In order to properly analyze the intersection of Iowa 141 and Northwest 121st Street, a comprehensive corridor safety study is being performed on Iowa 141 from Northwest Towner Drive to Northwest 102nd Avenue. The secondary purpose of the study is to address intersection operational issues. Within the study area, traffic analysis reveals that Iowa 141 and Northwest 121st Street and the intersection of Iowa 415 and Northwest Beaver Drive are currently functioning at poor levels of service for some movements during the morning and afternoon peaks. The study area boundary is shown in red. This study area defines the extent of the recommended alternatives for corridor improvements as a result of this study. The focus of improvements are limited to the areas shown in orange for the alternatives development area and in yellow for the intersection study area. The department has identified short-term plans for safety improvements, including an intersection collision warning system, referred to as ICWS. The ICWS will include vehicle detection and signs with flashers to alert motorists of potential intersection conflicts. The improvements also include an offset right turn lane from westbound Iowa 141 to northbound Northwest 121st Street. These improvements will be completed in 2018. As part of reviewing additional safety measures for the area, several general concept alternatives for improving the Iowa 141 corridor safety are currently under consideration. Please remember that for each of these alternatives, no specific alignments have yet been developed. The first alternative consists of closing the median on Iowa 141 at Northwest 121st Street. No left turns from Iowa 141 to Northwest 121st Street, or left turns from Northwest 121st Street to Iowa 141 would be permitted. To allow access for these neighborhoods, a connection would be provided from Northwest 121st Street, north of Iowa 141, south and east to Iowa 415. The second alternative would construct an overpass from Northwest 121st Street over Iowa 141. No turns would be permitted. A connection from the Iowa 415 interchange to Northwest 121st Street would be made. The connection of Northwest Towner Drive, between Northwest 121st Street and Iowa 141 would be closed. The median at Northwest 102nd Avenue and Iowa 141 would be closed. Alternative 3 would construct a traffic signal at Iowa 141 and Northwest 121st Street with offset left turn lanes and advanced warning flashers. Traffic signals will likely increase crash rates and mainline delay Iowa 141. The benefit would be to reduce side road delay and crash severity. The fourth alternative is to construct reduced conflict U-turn intersections, commonly called an RCUT or a J-turn. This type of layout is used with some frequency in Missouri, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. The RCUTs or J-turns would be installed at Iowa 141 and Northwest Towner Drive, Northwest 121st Street, and Northwest 102nd Avenue. The RCUT would allow for left and right turns off of Iowa 141. Left turns would be protected by a median. Right turns only would be permitted off of the side roads. Traffic on the side road wishing to turn left or continue straight would first turn right and then accomplish a U-turn at a special protected median area. This meeting is our first public information meeting. Data collection and analysis have been completed for traffic and environmental resources. We have not developed detailed alternatives at this point. With information from the public and other stakeholders, together with the engineering and environmental data, we will develop concept layouts for each of the alternatives. We plan on having a second meeting later this year. Polk County and Iowa DOT staff are available in the next room to answer your questions and are eager to hear from you. We thank you for your attendance this evening.